Hello and welcome to the GMX podcast. This is episode 3. Today we're going to be talking a bit about the Sony State of Play and following that up with the Microsoft showcase for what would have been E3 2024. With me as usual, I've got my good friend Finn Tin Tin, and we'll bring him in now. Hey Finn, how's things going today?
Things are going good. I've repositioned my camera so you can see the full beauty of my visage.
Yeah, well, looking good. It's actually a pretty good angle. I like this a lot better. It's more level with you versus the old way where it always felt like we're kind of looking down and you're sort of scooched down at the bottom of the screen. So
And as well
get
as
to
added bonus of less of the gray hair on top there.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, so I think what we'll want to do maybe is just, do you want to get straight into things here? Because
Sure.
it could be a fairly long show. I'm going to let Finn lead off with the Sony show because honestly, I don't have any notes on it, and it's been a couple weeks since I saw it. The only thing I remember was like a few games, Concord and the Marvel thing, the 5v5 and Astro at the end. But I'll let Finn lead that part off, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll say it straight out. Like, it was not impressive. It was the whole show was not impressive. I think Sony completely dropped the ball there. If this is all they have to show us for the next year, probably year and a half, because stuff takes a long time in development, yeah, they're in a bit of fucking trouble, to be honest. So I don't know. Like, if that's all they have, then I'd be very concerned. Now,
Yeah.
I did notice there was a lot of very much, Sony specific stuff, i.e., I think a lot of it is going to be more exclusive to Sony, whereas Xbox, and we'll talk about that a bit later, it was more the general, like what Xbox game studios are bringing out for everyone, not just specific to Xbox. But yeah, like, obviously Concord looked good. Like, it's not my type of game, honestly. So it's like a 5x5 battle royal thing, not my cup of tea. If there was a single player campaign in it, it looked like it could be a great game, like a souped up Borderlands, so to speak, right? Like with really good graphics and all that. But yeah, it doesn't excite me because of the nature of the game it is, and
Yeah.
given that was their lead game, I know those games are popular. Obviously, Fortnite is huge and has been for a couple of years. But it's a very specific type of community that you're aiming at there, I think, and it's probably not going to be for everyone. But it looked good. I will give them that.
Yeah. I personally, it's funny. It's a funny situation because initially I kind of liked what I saw at first, like the little banter that was going on in the cafeteria and whatnot. I thought it looked pretty decent. And I thought, hey, maybe this is some kind of a, single player type game or something, and might be a decent campaign with a story or whatever. As soon as I found out what it was and I saw the gameplay, then I'm like, okay, so it's an Overwatch clone with a bit of Destiny or something thrown into it, and I'm like, I don't see how it's going to be successful. It just looked like another one of those to me, and in a field or in a arena where there's so many of those games already. And then to find out too, as far as I know, they're planning on charging for it. It's not even going to be free to play. In a world filled with free to play games like that, I just don't see it going anywhere. It seems like it'll be dead on arrival to me, but who knows? Maybe
We'll see.
Maybe some people will buy it. But
it did look like a high-end variation of that theme. So, like, it'll have an audience, but I don't think as their lead title for the whole state of play. Yeah, and they talked it up as well, like that we've been working on this for a long time. They were talking about the game studio that they'd pulled together in order to, I mean, I'm sure they're delivering more than just this, but they put a lot of emphasis on it. And I'm like, yeah, it's not like they were announcing Uncharted 5 or something, right? Something where a lot of people would get excited about. I mean, maybe not you, but a lot of other...
We know how much I love those. Yay, more boards I can't get past.
Yeah, So like that was a bit of a letdown for me. As like you said at the start of it, I was like, there was actually one theme, and it was actually common to PlayStation and Xbox, but PlayStation were worse. Was that there was a lot of cutscenes, like a lot of cutscenes, like to the point like you felt like you're watching like a little movie. And if you look at, this was one of the worst examples of it at Concord. But and I agree with you. I liked the dialogue. It seemed like fun, and again, I felt it reminded me of Borderlands before I knew what it was. The different types of characters, the big dude and the little sniper, and it kind of looked like there was a magic dude as well in there somewhere. But it reminded me a bit about Borderlands. So I like the look of it, like the feel of it. But yeah, that was a long ass cutscene for something that you want to see the game.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
it'll be interesting, I guess, to see what happens with it when it launches, but I'm not expecting it to do super well. I don't think they're going to have a second Helldivers on their hands, that's for sure.
yeah, well, I just took a couple of notes of the games then as well. Like the next one up they had was the God of War for PC, God of War Ragnarok. They were boasting about their frame rate. It's actually ironic in a way that I know you were concerned or you expressed concern. I guess it's different because it's cross-platform as well around Xbox sharing their secret sauce with Sony. I mean, God of War is one of Sony's big exclusive titles, and I think they've all come to PC. But Sony don't seem to be mind sharing the love there. But I don't expect to see it on Xbox, obviously.
No, well, they've confirmed all their games are coming to PC. Their games like Concord and whatnot are going to be day and date on PC, all their multiplayer stuff. And then games like God of War, etc., they're going to be first on PlayStation, second on PC. We'll see how long that lasts, because, honestly, I think they're just hurting themselves by not going day and date with all their games on PC. But, that's another topic. We won't get into that today.
Then they had Dynasty Warriors Origins. I actually thought that looked like a lot of fun. I played some of the Dynasty Warriors games way back when, and it looked very impressive. I thought, like a hack and slash 'em. It looked fun to me. Maybe not your type of game, but I have played some of those feudal Japan games back in the day, and I've always kind of enjoyed them. I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors game for a long time. But this one looked like, I was like, yeah, if the price was right, or if it was on PlayStation Plus or Essentials, or sorry, Premium or whatever it is, I definitely would play that. Then they had a Japanese Infinity Nikki, which seemed to involve trying on shoes and stuff. I was like, yeah, no, just
yeah, that was the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah, I was a bit like. And this is
Not so much.
like third or fourth up. And it's like, okay, that doesn't bode well for the rest of the show. And then honestly, we had a bunch of stuff. Like I'll call out a couple of them like that looked okay. Well, first of all, there was one other good-looking one as well. I thought I haven't played the other ones. I think you have. Monster Hunter Wilds was impressive looking. Like graphically, it looked like it could be a good game. And then it had a bunch of what I would consider like lower tier games, like Ballad of Antara, I think it's pronounced. Alien Rogue Incursion looked. Actually, one thing I loved about that was that if you are old enough, I don't know you are, but if not really, because it just would have been before my time as well, but if you remember the original Alien movie trailer, like the original Alien movie trailer, there was no dialogue. It was just kind of this kind of spooky music. The and just flashes of the alien. The trailer for Alien Rogue Incursion looked very like that, very very much evocative of that original movie. So that was kind of cool, I thought. I'm not sure how good the game is or not, but the trailer was kind of nice. Marvel Rivals looked good again, though. Borderlands, like 10 years later, maybe.
The thing that strikes me with that one is like the whole concept of playing as a, a superhero is that power fantasy, right?
Yeah.
But you can't have a power fantasy in a game that needs to be balanced when you're fighting against each other, right? You can't have OP characters in any one direction because it'll ruin that balance. And I just don't see how they can get around that and actually make it anything other than just another 5-on-5 game with
Yeah.
maybe a different bit of salt on it or something. I don't know.
You're right. You're right. I mean, I think that's I don't want to say like a curse, but that's a factor, I think, in all of these games where you get different types of characters. They, like you have like going back to the gauntlet days, for like you had the warrior, the wizard, the thief, and whatever else the other one was. Um, the mage, I think it was, or the elf or whatever. But they always have to be balanced. And they've had some Marvel games in the past, like top-down isometric ones, and you'd have Wolverine and the Hulk and the Scarlet Witch, and it'd all be basically the same power level, which doesn't make a lot of sense in context of the comics, but still, I found them fun. But this specific game, it didn't look exciting. Like, I guess it looked okay. It didn't look exciting. Until Dawn, that one could be somewhat interesting as well. Looked like put you in the middle of it. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to ask, did you play it on PS4?
P1 on PS4. Oh, sorry,
Until Dawn.
The old did I play it
Until
on PS4?
Dawn, right? Because it's a remaster.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a remaster. I knew the name did sound familiar. I thought I was kind of thinking that this was a sequel to what it was, but I guess not. It's just a remake, I guess.
No. Yeah, it's a remaster.
It wasn't clear to me, at least anyway, in the title that was the case. And one of the reasons I picked up on the fact that it was at least related to it is that, the kind of hourglass and the skull emblem that they have. They say, oh yeah, that looks familiar. And I think I did play it on a PlayStation, like way, way back when. Probably wasn't a game I finished like many others, but it did look familiar. But I thought it looked good for what it was. And then
I enjoyed it on PlayStation. I did play it, and it's kind of funny. It's the background on my PS4 is the dynamic theme from that still to this day. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. Then there was Sky Dances Behemoth, like first-person sword fighting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's such a great idea, but who knows? Maybe it'll fool me. Where minds meet, it kind of looked like a karate type game, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type theme on it. Looked okay, but just generic, like nothing special. Like looked like any other game. Didn't jump out at me. Path of Exile 2 looks exactly like Diablo from what I could see. Silent Hill 2, which I was thinking, shouldn't it be Silent Hill like 23 or something at this point? But so again, I assume that's a remake of the Silent Hill 2 that I must have played many, many years ago. I've always enjoyed those games. I'm not sure I'm that excited to go back to them, honestly. But I guess they saw what happened with Resident Evil, and they said they'll do the same thing, I guess. But it looked good. Again, though, overall, that was probably you had Astro as well, which not my type of thing, honestly. It doesn't appeal to me at all.
So you didn't play it on your PS5, or was it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I haven't played the first one either. Everyone says it's the best game ever for, using the haptics in the controllers. So I don't know. Maybe it's worth a try at some point, but.
Kind of looked a bit like Ratchet and Clank to me, but just not as good is what it looked like, But again, maybe we need to break ourselves out of our comfort zone and try some of those things that don't look like our thing off the bat. But nonetheless, I would say, to summarize it, not a good show. Not a good show by Sony. Definite ball drop, I think. It's either one of two things. Either they just didn't do a good job of presenting what they're doing for the next while, But if that is all they're doing for the next while, yeah, they don't have anything exciting up their sleeves. It looks like I'm assuming there's like they just wanted to focus on the stuff that was Sony exclusive, and then they left out a lot of other stuff that could have really added, like Xbox did, a lot of other stuff that was going to be multi-platform, that really would have juiced up and filled up the show with some good content. But yeah, I think a very, 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 very poor showing from Sony overall. Very little to be excited about, in my opinion.
Yeah, disappointing, I guess, is probably the only thing I can say. You got to wonder at some point when we're going to see something new from Sony, like be it a new IP or just even, something from a first party that we haven't seen for a while, perhaps. Like, I'm not interested in another Spider-Man. There's been, like 3 of those in the last few years. It's like time for them to get back on the horse and deliver something, I don't know, that we just haven't seen for a while. I'm just kind of, yeah, I don't
Like,
know. I've just been
what?
disappointed, I guess, lately.
I know what you mean, but on the flip side, if they had like any one of like The Last of Us, Spider-Man, Uncharted, I know it's going back to the well, but they didn't have one big title as a God of War. They didn't have a single big installment of one of their Ratchet and Clank, even of one of their marquee games. I found it very, very strange that there was nothing, like nothing that you would say screams PlayStation. Very strange to me. I don't know what they were thinking exactly, other than Xbox is putting on a show. I guess we better get something out there as well. But
Yeah. I kind of was just debating as we've been talking. Might be useful. I probably should have done this for the Sony conversation. Is just throwing the actual thing up there, and I don't want to go through every single game by any means when we start in on the Xbox stuff, but I thought it might be useful just to have the games that we're talking about up there.
Yeah, I can chat about a bit about the Xbox as well. I mean, first of all, I think. Oh yeah, there was one other thing I was going to say as well. Like, even the presenters for Sony didn't seem that enthused. Whereas I thought Phil Spencer did actually a great. He was only on for like 2 minutes, but he gave you a sense of like something exciting is happening at Xbox. Now the other guys, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, they were fine. But I actually thought Phil Spencer did a really good job of setting the tone of the show. Seemed genuinely excited with what they were going to be offering, and I just thought he had great delivery. When I compare him with the Sony execs who were doing the same job, they all seemed a little bit underwhelmed with what they were presenting, honestly.
Well, probably rightfully so. I'd imagine it was a little difficult to get too excited about what they were presenting. Not, like you said, no big titles from nothing from their first party other than Astrobot.
And like this obviously is something that's going to be multi-platform. But like, what a great and I don't like Call of Duty typically. I've only played a few of them. I played some of the original Call of Duties when they came out. But this was such a good trailer for Call of Duty.
It was
very impressive.
Yeah, did you watch the after show Call of Duty portion, the 25 minutes? I'm going to guess not. But when you hear about how they're tweaking the game with, I think they call it fluid motion or something, with the way you can now, you can sprint and then slide, but you can do it sideways, you can slide backwards, you can sprint side to side. Like, there's just way more movement capabilities. They're really working on, like I say, tweaking the game and making it better, giving you a reason to want to play it beyond just the campaign and get into the multiplayer and give it a shot, right? I'm actually really pumped for this because I remember, you were so kindly to pointing out how old I am. I remember this war quite vividly, and sitting with my brothers and watching on TV as the sky was lit up with tracer rounds and stuff. It was pretty crazy. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it'll be quite the experience.
I will say like that, and I haven't said this for a long time. Like as I say, I played the original Call of Duty, which I think was World War One or World War Two. I can't remember which one. But this one might pull me back. I haven't played a Call of Duty, I think, since the original Black Ops. This one looked impressive enough to maybe convince me to try it out again. And I guess another running theme through this, I was blown away with how many things were like Game Pass day one. I was like, okay, that's pretty freaking impressive. As an impressive list, like by comparison, Sony had nothing, at least as far as I recall, that was going to be on PlayStation Plus, whatever brand of it you may have. Nothing was coming to PlayStation Plus day one, from what I recall.
Yeah.
The list of games that were coming on Xbox Game Pass day one, very, very impressive. They're really going all out to make this work, I guess.
It's like they didn't just double down; they tripled down on Game Pass after a lot of people were expecting them to back away from Game Pass. I'm actually, looking at this lineup and what they're bringing. Maybe Game Pass will be a system seller. I don't know, but it's hard to imagine the hardware really doing a lot without actual console exclusives. But maybe Game Pass will be good enough to be that exclusive to draw people in.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Phil Spector. Even without listening to him, you can tell by his body language the guy he's engaged and he's enthused, right? So
he's confident in what he's saying. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but we shall see. Anyway, I'm pretty impressed with Black Ops 6. I'm really looking forward to it. Black Ops is actually my favorite Call of Duties. Going way back to Black Ops 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. I thought they were great fun. But coming up next is definitely the star of the show for me. I'm going to just maybe... I'm going to skip ahead a few seconds here to where it starts. But this game...
incredibly impressive looking.
Oh, man. ID Software, I tell you, or id Software as people call it, man, they are gods among men. This looks so amazing to me. This one, I was literally, I'm watching this with my kids and I'm laughing out loud. Like I've got goosebumps from this trailer. I'm so pumped for this game. I just loved like Doom 2016 and then Doom Eternal. Fantastic games. Absolutely had a blast playing him. So this Doomslayer is so badass. Like he's just the beast, man. Like I love this guy. It's awesome.
This is super impressive. Like looks amazing. You know what? The other thing is that it looks amazing. It looks so Doom. Like
yeah.
And this little thing crunching the skulls up and spitting them out. Like, it's so cool. Absolutely spectacular. Like the weapons, like ripping their guts out of creatures as you come across them.
Oh,
very,
man.
very cool.
And who doesn't want a shield with like whatever you'd call that, a chainsaw wrapped around the outside of it? I mean, like it's just the whole thing is just awesome.
Like, ripping the guts out of these guys. Super cool. And again, like it just even if you never played it before, it just screams Doom. Like even having played the original Doom way back when, like this is obviously brought forward like 30 years, whatever the hell it is. But like
it's a long time now.
The same
mid-90s.
Yeah, crazy. And that was super impressive.
Yeah, I'm so pumped for that one. But and then this next up, we've got State of Decay 3, and I haven't really been much of a State of Decay fan. In fact, not at all. I would say I've probably spent a few hours in State of Decay 1 and State of Decay 2. But this trailer, I thought, looked really good too.
Yeah,
They've
I agree with
definitely
you.
stepped it up.
I agree with you. I've seen State of Decay games like they've kind of. I might even have some in my library that I've been sitting there, and it's not a title that jumps out at me. But yeah, this did look very good. Actually, do you know what? More than anything else, it just looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It had lots of different characters. Again, I'm assuming they use high-end PCs for a lot of these graphics because they almost all looked very graphically impressive. And I know, again, like I said earlier, there is a lot of cutscenes, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But what I surmise to be the in-game graphics also look very, very impressive.
Yeah, it's another Unreal Engine 5 game, and we've seen what Hellblade 2 can do, so it's impressive. And I hope that the multiplayer aspect of it works a lot better. One of the complaints with State of Decay 2, if I recall correctly, was that your progress, like when you helped somebody else in their game, you didn't really gain any progress or anything for your own,
right?
If I remember right. So hopefully they figured out some method that you can play with a buddy and somehow you can both share in that experience and have progression in your own world as well. I don't know how that would work, but it looks pretty damn good, I must say.
Yeah,
Far like leaps and bounds better than 2.
Yeah, it looks like fun, is what I thought.
Yeah. When your characters die, they're gone. As far as I understand, like when you lose a character in this world, it's gone. You can't play that character anymore. But I know one of the complaints in State of Decay 2 that you'd hear people talking about is, you're building this compound, you got a bunch of people, and then some idiot pisses in the cornflakes, and now you have to go out and find, more food because someone peed on the food or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, that would just be irritating. But hopefully they got something a little better than that up their sleeves for this one. Looks pretty killer, though.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I think what I'll do is I will skip to another game that we both enjoyed. Or did you want to look at Dragon Age? That was what's next up.
Maybe we can just do a couple of seconds on, at least for the big titles at the start. Yeah, like, again, I actually thought this looked good as well. This looked like something that one actually thing, just by the by, and we'll talk about this in a negative slant later on, but one of the cool things about the Black Ops trailer was that they had the Prodigy music, Firestarter. It's part of the trailer, and this had "We Can Be Heroes" by David Bowie. But again, I thought this game looked like a lot of fun. Like it's the type of game, maybe not super original, but I could see myself checking it out. It's kind of like a no-brainer to check it out when they're all on Game Pass. You know what I mean? So. Is
this on Game Pass though? I think this is an EA Play, like EA Plus or whatever. Yeah, I don't know that this one's Game Pass.
Oh, okay, maybe I got that wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't say.
Game Pass, I might have gotten mixed up.
Yeah, I don't like. There's 2 different levels of EA, I think, and like part of EA stuff is in Game Pass, but I think it's as the games get older. So I mean, eventually it would come to Game Pass.
Well, scoot to the end of that section because I think it says at the end of it of each of them.
Skip ahead here.
Oh no, yeah, no, you're right. It doesn't say. Yeah, so it probably.
Yeah, so it's probably in like EA Plus or whatever it's called. And then we get into one that I think we're both probably looking forward to. At first, I'm like, what is this? I recognize the music. Oh, yeah, Starfield.
Yeah. So, again, this one, like, whether I assume maybe this has been your experience all the way through, which makes me want to finish my PC build. But graphically, looks amazing as well.
Yeah.
Whether it's souped up versus certainly it's souped up versus what I would play on the Xbox, but it looks great. One thing I would say is that it did look a bit samey. I was like, hoping for something a little bit different. I mean, it's all in the same universe or whatever, of course. Yeah, I'm. It didn't excite me as much as maybe I thought it would. I will definitely grab it. I will definitely play it, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But it did look quite. I guess it's a funny complaint for a game that you like. It looked very Starfieldy. It didn't look like anything dramatically new. And for something that we've waited for a year, to get the first DLC, I guess I was hoping for something a little bit different. I did like the idea that they're going to explore House Faroon a little bit more, which seems to be one of the major themes that we've been hearing there. But yeah, I'm excited to play it, and it was also very exciting news as well that there's going to be a lot of new missions even besides this, which I wasn't aware of before.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I thought, graphically, I thought it looked great. I don't know, it's got me hyped, but then again, you played about 3 times as much Starfield as I did.
Yeah.
So maybe, you're a little more played out than I am. I'm not sure, but to me, I'm thinking this looks great. Can't wait to get into it. It looks really good. I mean, floating around out in space without a ship, I don't think that's something we did in the first one, or at least I didn't. So it looks like there's some new involved in this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's this is the part I was saying, like, it is quite exciting. Wasn't expecting this, so I haven't actually jumped back in to check out what that is, but I definitely will.
I haven't either.
I kind of had told myself that I was going to wait for the Shattered Space to drop, and which I may still well do, but this has got me interested in maybe jumping in a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I'll probably jump in like a couple weeks before Shattered Space arrives, and just to kind of get a feel for the game again.
Yeah.
So I'm, skills are primed and ready to go for when the expansion drops. But this one is Fallout 76. Don't know if you care. Probably not something we need.
Yeah, I mean, it looks very Fallout-y, which obviously I'm a big fan of. I understand now that Fallout 76 has a bit more of a single-player mode. But I'm still probably not going to try it out, quite honestly.
Yeah. I was going to suggest maybe Fallout 76 is something we try together because it's multiplayer that way, but maybe one day.
That's actually not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. It would be fun to try it out because I haven't even loaded up the game, honestly, with all the negative press I had, and the whole campaign, so to speak, was what was made Fallout so great. It wasn't really it wasn't something that lended to a multiplayer experience for me. But yeah, maybe that might be a good idea. Maybe we can check it out together.
Yeah, I think that might be something we have to do one day. All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and get to the next game. And I actually thought this one, I actually thought this looked pretty good. This is Expedition 33. And kind of an interesting concept, I think, overall. And the way, the number gets painted and then people die. It's like, okay, got to get there and stop it. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it seemed to me like that's if I recall correctly, someone is the artist and they're trying to stop the artist from doing whatever. But
painting the new number.
Yeah, I don't know what it all means. Again, a lot of cutscenes, so hard to know what it's going to be like in game. But again, graphically looked great, and like you said, I think what caught me was that okay, for a bigger title, this is something that I've seen done before in type of indie games, but for a bigger title to do some kind of reality warping type thing, it is interesting. It's an interesting concept and something I'd like to support as I like to see guys try something a little bit different. So it looks like a somewhat of a horror slash. It looks a bit Souls Bladey from
Right.
this perspective, but like I think the concept is interesting, and it's probably enough to catch my interest at least.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I'd like to give a run on for sure. And I think this does come to Game Pass. I'm just going to skip ahead a bit here. We don't want to be here all night. Yeah, I think this one does come to Game Pass. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think almost all of them. Now, one thing as well, this is just
day
reminds me as well. I got very excited watching the Xbox stuff and everything that was coming to Game Pass. Bear in mind, a lot of this stuff is in 2025, so it's not like it's all coming in the next couple of months. But still, an impressive lineup.
No doubt.
Like it kind of. At one point, I felt like there was going to be a huge plethora of games dropping on Game Pass imminently. It's probably going to be like one or two of these, maybe a month, which is still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and South of Midnight, I think this looks really cool. I do find the cutscenes being in this almost like stop motion film kind of method they used. I find it a bit weird, like it's like 15 FPS, and then when it goes to the gameplay, that appears to be around like more like 60 FPS. So I just find that transition kind of jarring. The effect is cool when you're watching it. It's just that moving between this and the gameplay, I thought, just seemed a bit much to me. But the game itself looks pretty cool.
Yeah, this was one that didn't catch my interest as much, I admit. Not sure why. And looking at it now, it does look good, but I'll be honest, and I'm not sure who's listening and who might be offended. The accent I found a little bit grating of some of the characters to listen to. And I'm a fine one to talk, I get that. But
yeah, it's not like you've got an accent at all, right?
No.
I guess I do too. It just depends who's watching.
Yeah.
I get teased by the American friends I podcast with about my Canadian accent, so all depends. But I think it looks fantastic. Like the visuals look really good. The art style's really cool. That shocked me. I wasn't expecting that. That type of movement.
Yeah, I mean, I think consistently sorry to interrupt, but I think just to your point, I think consistently the games all looked great, which is it's obviously being a huge emphasis for Xbox Game Studios and the other people that they're working with, but they all looked impressive. Maybe it suffers in comparison to some of the other games that I am more excited about, but this wasn't one that caught my eye as much, right?
Yeah. Fair enough, right? Not every game's for everyone, but I'm definitely I'm looking forward to this one. I think it'll be interesting nonetheless to give it a run. Just some of the special powers and stuff, and you can see it's like she can ride the wind or something. You can see it looks like there's kind of a breeze going through, a la Spider-Man 2, and the fact that she can just fly like that, I thought that was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting it at all, and art style's really good. But all right, well, let's move along then. I'm going to skip World of Warcraft. I'm assuming that's not a game for you. It's not a game for me. So I'll buzz us along here a bit.
That was one of the worst examples of the way too much cutscenes. It just felt like I was watching a Lord of the Rings remake. I got pretty bored watching this, honestly.
Yeah. And now we're into something I'm expecting you're going to be quite happy about.
So this looked freaking incredible. I thought, like graphically, it looked amazing. Obviously, I'm familiar with the game. Um,
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess from a chrono, chronologically speaking, it's the first, like in terms of what happened and when in this universe, it's the first appearance of Snake in any variation. So it makes sense. Like I actually, this was an amazing game to play in the first place. Graphically, it was amazing for its time. Must have been on the PS3. I'm thinking. If I'm yeah, maybe yeah, I think PS3 that it was this came out on. But yeah, this looks great. I wonder have they taken some of the what they've done with Sons of Liberty and making a more open world game versus it looks like they have or is it just a straight remake? I'm not really sure, but it looks like they've taken it looks a bit more open world, at least to me, from on the basis of the video.
right. Yeah, I know. It does look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I find a few things that I could probably critique in it, but generally speaking, it looks pretty good. And I think for at least for Metal Gear fans, it's going to be huge. I'm just not. Maybe it's sacrilege for some people, but I'm just not haven't never really been a Metal Gear fan. So
How
I tried playing.
dare you?
Yeah, like I spent a pretty good chunk of time in what was the last one, Phantom Pain or something, whatever it was called. Is that what it was?
No. Oh, sorry. Yeah. We got the names mixed up. What was this? Shit. I'm leaving my side down here.
Yeah. Anyway,
I keep on the Phantom Menace keeps on jumping into my head, and I know that's not right.
yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but I spent a decent amount of time in it. It's just I kind of just got bored eventually, and I don't know. It is what it is, but I think we can probably skip past Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Not a game that I'm really into. I think it looks pretty impressive. Again, the graphics look great. The art style's cool, but just not my kind of game. So I'm going to buzz ahead. And let's see what we got next is Flintlock. It's not skipping here. There we go. So Flintlock, this is one that I know a lot of people are looking forward to. This is more of a Souls-like game, I think. Not, again, something that I would typically play, although with Stellar Blade, I've found that I've warmed up to that genre a little bit. Maybe because the game wasn't that hard in easy mode. So, those deaths didn't bother me as much. And it's not like you lost everything the same way you do in some of these Souls games where you lose all your gear and you have to go back and get it. So it wasn't as punishing. So depending what they do here, maybe it's a game I'd be interested in.
Yeah, well, one thing is interesting about this, and some of the other games as well, is that I feel like, and maybe you'll disagree, having been more of an Xbox fan through the years, it feels like they are kind of outdoing Sony in some respects in these type of games. These are more games I associated with Sony, but Sony didn't have anything to write home about. And this looks like a good variation on those themes. I agree with you. It does look pretty Souls-like again. But again, I think these games done well, and if they're not too freaking hard and are a bit more rewarding than I found Souls to be sometimes, it can be a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, it does looks pretty damn cool, I think. And I think it's Game Pass, if I'm not crazy. We'll know in a second. But and this one is multi-plat too. I believe it's going to PlayStation as well. Yeah, there it is, Game Pass. So, it's an easy one for us to jump in and try. That's for sure. And after that, we have Age of Mythology, which, do you care? So we'll skip that.
Looks decent, but looks like something from the 90s, honestly. Let's see that version of something from the 90s.
Yeah, no doubt. And then this was a nice surprise, I think. Perfect Dark made its appearance, and I thought it looked pretty darn good myself. I don't know
Yeah, I know it
what you
looked pretty
think,
cool.
but
It looked pretty cool, I thought. Now that is a remake of that old Nintendo game, I assume. Or
yes, you
okay,
are correct.
yeah,
You are correct. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Like this one was, long rumored to be in development hell, and oh, it's not going to even come out. They're going to cancel it, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it shocked a lot of people to see as much gameplay as they showed. But yeah, I thought it looks pretty good. I mean, I'm a fan of Crystal Dynamics and a lot of the stuff they've done. So the fact that they're partnered with this and doing a lot of the development, I had high hopes for it. Really, I'm a big fan of the Tomb Raider series, or at least the last three. Freaking bug flying
yeah.
in my face.
Again, like the graphics look spectacular. Very, very cool. I just saw
Yeah,
a lot of, kind of a maybe more my cup of tea than yours, but the whole future spy thing is quite appealing to me. Not all.
yeah,
I know you like just to run in all guns blazing. I like to sneak up and choke guys out and stuff. So yeah, this looks like my type of game.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I am typically more of a run and gun guy, but I can do my bit of fair share of stealth as well. Uh, I just thought it looks really good. It kind of reminds me of Mirror's Edge a bit. Some of this parkour and
Yeah,
stuff looks pretty cool
no, I definitely will be checking this one out.
for sure. Absolutely. Funny how that slide mechanic has made its way into so many games now, like first person shooters especially. The
What was
run
the
and
first one that
slide.
did that? It was, and this, I remember one on the PlayStation way back when, and where you got this, you had this suit, an all black suit, and you were sliding around. What was that game? Do you remember? That
Not
was
sure.
going back a while now. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. I think Crisis did it.
Crisis, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I played that on PC, but yeah, I kind of thought maybe that might be what you were talking about. I really liked Crisis. It's funny, like, the old meme, yeah, but can it play Crisis? A large part of that is that the game was just not well optimized. To be honest, I mean, visually it was amazing for its time. Like nothing else really came close, but it was so heavily CPU dependent that that was the real bottleneck, even more so than graphics in some respects. And as years went on, they never really updated the engine to take advantage of the multi-core systems that were starting to come out. So it was still hard to play Crisis, even though now you had a quad-core CPU. The game was just that ridiculous. Then we get into Mr. Booty for a bit.
Yeah, not as engaging as the other dude, but did a decent job.
No, it's kind of a bit of a revamp. Did you want to watch the Diablo bit? I
Yeah,
fine
no,
with
not so
skipping it.
much. Yeah, like again, looked like more Diablo. A lot of cutscenes
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Graphically amazing, the cutscenes anyway.
Yeah,
Looks like it'll be an interesting storyline, but I still haven't played Diablo 4. Spent
I played it. I played it. I found like there was just. I think I mentioned on another podcast that I found there was a bit too much dialogue and a bit too much, explaining what's happening and why you're going after this guy in the next village. I'm like, get on with it a bit. So
yeah,
um,
I
I'll go
played like
back
an
to it.
hour. I think I played an hour or so.
Like,
But
and I loved Diablo 3. I thought it was so much fun.
yeah,
This
me
one,
too.
this one is kind of preventing me from getting to the fun a bit too much. Maybe when maybe once you get past the initial part of the story, maybe it'll just be more action all the way. But I've yet to get
Maybe,
there.
yeah.
This was actually, I think you've talked about this one before. I actually thought this was a very funny trailer. Very well done
Yeah.
again. I
Yeah.
I played the original Fable and the original Xbox. It's always been something that shot high and never quite made it, but it's always been fun. I've never like some people hate on Fable a lot. I've always thought they've been good games, and
Yeah.
but maybe it's almost like their ambition exceeded what they could end up doing. Like where they say like, well, you can interact or you can do anything in this world. Well, no, you can't really, but still, they're still good games, right? And this one
Yeah,
looks like it
there's
would
a
be good as
lot of
well.
huge fans of Fable that just love the Fable series. I played about 2 hours of the first Fable, and that was it. And I probably didn't give it a fair shake, to be honest.
Right.
Maybe, actually, it's probably more like an hour and a bit, and it just hadn't grabbed me at that point. But again, when I did play it, I was more into shooters at the time, so and I still am, to be perfectly honest. That's I'd way sooner play a Doom than anything else, but I loved the trailer too. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I
I think
like the humor in it.
this could be your chance. This one looks pretty good. I think it sounds like they've
Yeah,
got good character development in it. And I like the look of it. And just by contrast, I think I played the first two Fables to completion. Maybe I don't know how many there's been, and I don't think I think there's been at least one other one in between.
three. There's been three.
Yeah, so I skipped the third one, but I'm ready to come back for this one, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it looks pretty good. Next up, we've got FragPunk. I got to
Now
give my head a shake on this one. I can't remember exactly what it was.
this one didn't look like my cup of tea personally.
Oh, yeah, this is another one of the 5v5s. I just think there's too many of them already. And it's the live service aspect where
Doesn't
everybody's
this
trying
look
to get a
so
hit.
Borderlands to you though? Like the whole style of it, like it just looks like it's I don't know, maybe it's
Yeah,
me. It just looks so
yeah,
Borderlands, like they're trying to recapture that magic that Borderlands, at least for me, had. And this whole thing with the cards as well, I didn't quite get. It just didn't look like it was something I'd be interested in.
yeah. I thought the card thing, like, I don't know. Again, not something I'd be interested in, I don't think, but it's interesting the way you can change the flow of the game. And like, I thought that was kind of funny given your enemies' big heads. I thought that was, an interesting twist on the game. Who knows? Definitely not something I'm really looking forward to, that's for sure. The next one's, it was kind of, I got a note here. I thought it was funny because I was saying to the kids, "Oh, this looks like something you could play," and then at the end, the Hulk comes along and steals his buddy. I started laughing, and they're like, "Daddy, what are you laughing about?" I thought it was pretty funny.
So one thing I will
We don't
say,
need.
yeah, like, and I haven't watched the other, the one where it was more focused on indie games. Maybe we'll talk about that another week. I do think it is harder for an indie game like this or an indie looking game like this to capture you in the same way based on a trailer because obviously it doesn't have the eye
Yeah,
candy that some of the other ones do. It could be a great game, but yeah, I actually took a note. I was like, FragPunk, or sorry, Winterborough indie mouse game, just to remind me what it was about. But yeah,
yeah,
based on this, it could be terrible or it could be amazing. It's hard to say, right?
yeah. It's hard to know, but I thought this was funny. Bye.
Yeah,
uh, guess
I
that
agree.
says something about me. I don't know. Next up, we had mixtape. Uh, Not
So
something
this
I.
this happened. So this is one thing that Xbox screwed up. I'm sorry, but like how stupid it is to have these trailers and then to have like muted for copyright. How absolutely ridiculous that is. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like why have it in there and people not know what the hell is going on? Just take out the bloody thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but anyway, I'm gonna skip ahead. Flight Simulator was next. I don't know if you want to talk about Flight Sim. I used
Clearly,
to love
it,
Flight Sims, but
yeah, clearly this will be incredible for people who like flight sim. I'm not one of them.
yeah, yeah, no, me neither. Not recently anyway, but years and years ago, Flight Sims were one of my favorite things, but more in the fighter jet kind of genre where you're flying missions and stuff. Like
Yeah,
F-15 Strike Eagle was a game I played a lot of back in the day.
yeah, yeah. Like I liked them in that. I like dogfighting and stuff, but as soon as I had to worry about taking off and taking and landing, I was like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah,
Like, as soon as I just had to worry
yeah,
about opening my landing gear and all that malarkey, I'm like, yeah, just get me to shooting. That's all I'm interested in.
yeah. So Elder Scrolls Online, any interest in that?
Not for me.
I actually played about 2 hours of Elder Scrolls Online, and it was pretty fun. Like Skyrim was a game I spent a ton of time in, so I could see me getting into this game potentially, but I quit playing because it's a time suck, and I don't want to get into another Destiny like game where I spend thousands of hours playing and feel like I got to get in there because a new raid's coming out or whatever, right? And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm way more enjoying shorter games where I can just
Yeah,
go in, have fun, and be done.
there is exceptions to this to me, but the whole like sword and sorcery genre in general, it's a bit overdone in my from my perspective. Like the having elves and orcs and all this kind of crap. Like, yeah, I'm over that, and I have been for a while. I did enjoy,
Yeah,
the Lord of the Ring games. So I was like Shadow of Mordor. They were really good games, but they were just fun to play. It could have been any context. But yeah, I'm not a
yeah,
huge fan of these type of things.
yeah. No, like I say, I liked Skyrim a lot. I think I spent 300 hours or so in Skyrim, if I recall correctly. I played it quite heavily modded way back on PC. Had a really good time with it, but this is just one of those games that I don't have time for anymore. And world premiere. This we got coming up. I'm
Uh,
looking forward to.
oh yeah,
Not sure
is
if you are.
well. This is Life is
Oh,
Strange.
sorry. I'm kind of looking forward to this game. I
So
jumped ahead. I was looking at the next one in the list, but
I'm looking
more
forward to
because of the
adding.
murder mystery.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to adding this to my other collection of Life is Strange games that I haven't played.
That you haven't played. Yeah, I like the idea of the supernatural murder mystery, the dual timelines. I think that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm kind like I said, I'm kind of looking forward to giving it a try if it's in Game Pass.
well, I'm not sure it is or not, but I think a lot of these are. I think I remember this one was as well, but I could be
I
wrong.
think it is, but yeah, like this just kind of reminds me of the Medium. Did you ever play the Medium?
I played a bit of it. Yeah, I know you recommended it, and honestly, I didn't get into it. I played it for a
Yeah,
while, but it wasn't. It was one of these ones that looked great, but I felt I
fixed
gotta.
camera was a bit annoying.
It felt a bit slow as well. Like I like games to get into it pretty quickly, and at least the start of it
Yeah,
was kind of slow. But no,
yeah,
I
I can
agree with you. This
appreciate
one,
that.
I think all these Life is Strange games, they all seem pretty interesting. I just need to, I need to kind of assert myself, and maybe that's something we can talk about whenever replays games, because I have a bunch of Life is Strange games. They look good games. Like maybe now is a good a time as any to think about actually loading some of them up.
Yeah, this is the game I'm looking forward to. Like, actually, really looking forward to.
So, didn't you find the graphics of this like really off in a lot of respects?
Not really.
Okay, maybe it's
I thought it
yeah.
looked pretty good.
I thought like I assume it's not Harrison Ford doing the voice, but whoever does the
It's
voice does a very good Harrison Ford impression.
yeah, yeah. It's not Harrison Ford. I can't think of the guy's name. Uh, yeah, I can't think of who it is, but yeah, I think does a great job. If you didn't know, if someone said, "Oh yeah, no, it's Harrison Ford," you'd probably believe him. Other
Yeah,
than it
it
sounds
kind of
younger.
yeah, that was the thing that gave it away for me. Well, I guess with AI they
Yeah,
probably could figure it out. Get Harrison
yeah,
Ford to record it and then make him sound like 40 years younger. But
yeah.
yeah, like there's a couple of scenes in this, and the graphics just look off to me. I gotta say, I
You
think
mean like faces
their
or just
faces and their hair, it looks like someone had transposed Harrison face Ford's face, which I guess in a way they did, but
yeah?
transposed Harrison Ford's face onto a model, and it didn't look like the two things quite melded together.
Okay. Well, hopefully, stuff like that gets sorted out before it's delivered to our greedy little hands, I guess. But
Yeah. I,
I thought
I,
it was a good trailer. I mean, I think they captured the spirit of the movies really well. It's a little bit campy and the comedy aspect of it, everything. I thought they did really, really well.
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not against it. Again, I was a bit this. It was kind of funny that I'm the one who's usually, yeah, like his hair there. I didn't think. I know it's supposed to be the wind blowing it and all that. It just looked a bit off to me. It didn't look real, which kind of took me out of the suspension of disbelief a little bit. Maybe I'm becoming more like you, Mike, in my old age and getting fussier about this sort of stuff. But yeah, like I think this isn't it exactly, but yeah, there's some of this stuff here. It just looks like, as I say, there's someone stuck his face onto this model, and it looks like someone stuck his face onto the model. But I actually, to be honest, I kind of thought, like you said, I think those are maybe some teething problems in the development. Maybe it's how they intend. If you don't notice it, but to me, it looks like it still needs a little bit of work, honestly.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I just tended to think that it was more the art style, less maybe graphical issues, but uh,
This was kind of funny.
yeah, yeah. No, I think it'll be good. I hope so.
If this is Bethesda as well, or it's not?
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Okay.
Machine games.
Yeah, I like the scene at
Okay.
the end as well, though, when they took and they had the famous rolling ball running after Indy.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, falls. It's like that would fit with an Indiana Jones movie. Gotta love the ship just out in the middle of the mountains too. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's, like even there, like the face, something about the faces didn't look right to me. But again, maybe it's all in my head.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's not all in your head, but it's I'm just maybe it doesn't matter to me as much. I don't know. Because for me, this game's not going to necessarily be about that. It's just going to be more the story and the fun that
Mhm.
I'm hoping it will be.
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt. The old sledgehammer in the chest. But like the environments look really good.
Yeah.
Great circle. Yeah, and then after this, there's the ball rolling. we've got Mecha Break, I think is what it's called. Not my style of game. Nathan thought it looked really cool though. Like he wants to play it, but
I guess if you like Transformers and the like.
yeah,
It does say it
bit of
looks like
mech,
something
bit of
that's been
Transform.
done many times before, I guess, is the only thing I would say.
Yeah, and for me, you know, honestly, it looks busy, like really busy. And it's just not something I think I'd be into, like trying to figure out. I don't know. I'm too old for that type of game, I think. But then we have. I thought this looked pretty good. What's it called? I'm not sure how
Wuchang
you say it.
Fallen Feathers.
Yeah, yeah, it looks pretty good. I thought, or interesting anyway.
One thing I
You
thought,
need
like,
to know more, but
and we're getting to the point now. I think I agree. It looked pretty interesting. I almost thought, like, if anything, Xbox almost had too many games on, so that you kind of forget about half of the ones, you know. And I know it's kind of funny when you, but I think even like the first, let's say, dozen games they had were enough to make a really good, strong show.
yeah,
I
they
think
could have had 2 shows out of this, no problem.
yeah, I think the second everything kind of after, let's say, Fable, I think could have been on a separate a separate show or whatever. Because how many is there? I'm just scrolling back here.
There's
So
30 or 31, something like
yeah,
that.
like 12, 13, 14. That's probably as many as most people are going to be able to maintain in their little noggin at one time. At least me, anyway. So yeah, I thought you can have too much of a good thing too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks cool though. I'm curious to see more of it anyway.
And again, another coming straight to
Game
Game
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah. And the next up we had
I wonder
Avowed.
what I wonder what the likelihood is that they all actually drop within 2024, 2025. I imagine some of these are going to get pushed out.
Yeah, ones that didn't mention 2025 are probably, 2026 or beyond. If they didn't say 2024 or 2025.
It's another medieval sword and sorcery type looking thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'll be interested to see what it's all about.
I think a lot of this, like, it's especially, as I say, when you have a lot of cutscenes, it's hard to gauge what the game actually is going to be. The setting is one thing, but it could be a great game regardless. It's just when you don't see a lot of the game itself, and it's all based on, as I say, a bunch of cutscenes, or the majority of it's based on a bunch of cutscenes. It's hard to know, like, whether it's going to be interesting or not. And I think by this time as well, like, this was already probably pretty much 45, 50 minutes into the show. And there was only so much information I could consume. And I say that looking at the fact that we're already over an hour ourselves. So
yeah. I think it was an hour and 15 or so in total, something like that. And then you had that half hour of Black Ops 6 after that. So
like I will watch that, but after I watched the Sony one and then this one straight after, I was like, okay, I'm done for a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably why you're feeling a little more spent by the end of this one too. Chances are. I thought this game looked interesting. Is it Atomfall?
Avowed, I think, was the next one up.
That was Avowed we just saw.
Oh, was it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And then this is Atomfall.
I'm trying to remember what this one was about.
I mean, any game with a mech has to be good, right?
A mech with a flamethrower, no less.
Yeah. Man, I'm still not over that cold. My throat's starting to bug me. I'm going to just flick my camera off for a second and grab a drink. Another one coming to Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And then this was Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of trailers on this one already.
Uh, I hadn't actually. Again, Assassin's Creed is something like they've dropped a lot of games in the last couple of years. It used to be more of an event, and now I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready. Like I've started a few of them. Again, something I think we might go back to in our replay segment, because I actually, generally speaking, the stories and the games are pretty good. Just I've just done a lot of them, like, and
Yeah.
again, this is another one. It's set in, looks like feudal Japan, and looks like again
Yep.
an interesting environment or interesting setting for it. I'm just not sure I'm ready for another one right now. There's a bunch of ones I already have that I haven't played. So like Valhalla and Origins. So
Yeah.
I probably won't be looking at this one for at least for a little bit until it comes out in sale, so I can add it to the rest of the ones I haven't played.
Well, when you see the price of it, you're really not going to be interested in getting it right away. Like I think the full version is $149 US, so it's like close to $200 Canadian.
It's insane. That's the other thing.
It's
like Assassin's Creed, like at some point, and it was kind of after Assassin's Creed 3, at some point it felt like you were getting half the game when you bought it. Like, and like, there was so much DLC that I felt like getting shortchanged a little bit. Like, I find it quite irritating, quite honestly.
Yeah. No, I feel you there. And I mean, to me, you got to be a little bit, you really have to want to play it bad to buy something like this day one, when 6 months later it's going to be $20.
Yeah, guaranteed as well, right? Because they bring them out so often, they have to start shifting the old one when the new one comes out, because they know no one is going to buy the old one for $140 anymore.
Yeah. This game, I'll say it, props to the developers out of the Ukraine getting this done while there's a war going on. Kudos to them, that's for sure. And it looks really good. Graphically, this is one I'm looking forward to. Stalker 2 was supposed to be out originally in 2022. So, 2-year delay, but understandably.
Yeah, it's funny actually that it's such a global industry these days. I mean, I think one of the first, obviously there's other examples as well, but one of the things that really brought to mind for me is that there's these great developers everywhere. When you look at something like Witcher 3, you're going to go, like, geez, there's guys out there, like in CD Projekt Red or whatever, like they're not all in North America anymore, right? Like there's some great talented people all around the world doing cool things. So, and it does look good. I agree with you. It does look good. I actually don't really remember this the first time I went through. I think maybe I'd zoned out. I did notice that it was from developers in Ukraine. I did remember seeing that catch line. But yeah, it actually, I don't remember all of this because maybe I was already snoozing. I was having a nap after my 2 hours of video game content.
Yeah, no, that's a long watch. Going through all of them at once, but
if I'm not mistaken, and I kind of think it's cool if they did, like it kind of would be cool to keep the original language and just have subtitles. So I think that's kind of maybe not your cup of tea. It's something I think is kind of cool though. I always find it kind of funny, like in the old World War II movies, where all you have to be German is just says "Very Z dog." That's enough to be German.
Yeah. I think this looks really cool. I mean, I still remember the original Stalker, which is kind of funny. I never did finish it. I got to a point in the game where I just couldn't figure out what to do next. And eventually I just gave up, which is really sad. But I just gave up on it. So this is where Sarah Bond comes in, and everyone thought the show was over. I'm going to skip ahead again. until she said,
One thing, actually, just before you skip through this, it's interesting, and maybe this is common knowledge, but she does talk about the fact that there's a digital Series X coming out, which does
yeah,
indicate that they're not done 100% with the hardwares. But one thing I was saying, though, is that Sarah, it's great that you're giving all this extra space to these new players and people who buy new consoles. Can you do something for us poor souls who bought it originally and only have 1 terabyte to play all these incredible games? Do you buy something for us?
how about making that expansion storage a little bit more reasonable?
Yeah, like.
But yeah, it's I'm actually semi interested in the disc version, the black one, because I think that's going to be the last disc version you can buy from Xbox. That, and it has the 2 terabyte internal drive. So I'm kind of partially interested in it. It's just the price is going to be insane in Canada, and I don't know how they can justify, like, in all reality, charging more for it than the 1 terabyte. It doesn't make any sense. Like, by now, the prices on these things should be way less. But anyway, this was like, I was pretty excited to see this at the end of the show. I love Gears, and just the the music at the end too gave me chills, because it took me back to that Gears 1 trailer way back in the day, Mad World. I was just like, wow, that is so cool. And I mean, again, graphically, it looks amazing. And it's something no one was expecting either. Like, I was like, right away, holy crap, that's Marcus. Why does he look so young? Right? Like, immediately cluing in that there was something different going on here, because everyone was expecting Gears 6 and, you know, the continuation of Kate's story. And to see Marcus kind of coming out here and then looking young, I'm like, is this just a reboot? Oh, maybe it's the Marcus Phoenix collection, I was thinking. But then I'm like, I don't remember. There's nothing like this in the original game that, you know, would be a remake. And he looks a lot younger here than he did in the original game. So, yeah, all these different thoughts ripping through my head as I'm watching this. And then, of course, seeing Dom, okay, well, knew right away it's got to either be a remake or a reboot or something, or a prequel, was what I was thinking. That looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you could kind of see the spine and everything there, like the neck bone. But
yeah, I mean, I've never been a big Gears fan. It looks great, and I can understand if you, a bit like I said with this. So, like, Sony had nothing, right? Now, if I look back over here, they have Gears of War, obviously. They also had Fable. Like, in terms of, like, stuff that really adds to the Xbox mythology, so to speak, or, you know, something that has Xbox written all over it, and even some of the, I guess these days, even Call of Duty, perhaps. But regardless, I thought, like, the fact that they had Starfield, another Starfield, they had they had Fable, they had Diablo, they had Gears of War. They really added to some of their big titles and big announcements for their big titles, something that Sony just completely failed to do. So Sony sucks, Xbox rules, at least for this week.
Yeah, well, I will say, I mean, in all honesty, I have a hard time thinking of a showcase I've ever seen that was better than this one. Like, this ranks right up there. It's probably if it's not the best one I've ever seen, I don't know what was. You know, it must have been a long time ago, because I can't remember.
I think what was spectacular about it was that you'd see all these major games, and then it would, like, on Game Pass day one. Like, that was what was incredible to me, right? Like, that you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck if you subscribe to Game Pass for the next, 18 months or whatever.
So and that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's what blew me away, at least, anyway. Sorry.
Yeah. No, and I agree, and that's kind of where I sat there thinking, well, you know what, maybe Game Pass can be a hardware seller. I don't know, because if that's their exclusive, and if they can continuously deliver, 5 or 6, heavy hitters every year, that might be enough to get people subscribed to it and to buy the hardware and stay in that ecosystem. It's very possible. So,
or maybe
time will tell.
If they don't do the hardware thing, maybe Game Pass will be a PC thing, and that will be enough, generate enough cash enough by itself, you know?
Yeah, I know you didn't really like the idea that much, but I'll go back to I think the next Xbox should just be a mini PC with Windows 11 or Windows 12 or whatever on it, and with a console-friendly dashboard that, you know, has your controller, and to the user it looks just like a normal Xbox like dashboard, but in behind it's got all the ability of a normal PC. And you know, then with that comes the ability to play all the Sony games when they drop on PC, and then Microsoft's lost nothing. In fact, in my mind, they've won, because the hardware is just an extension of the brand at that point, and it gives the player everything along with Game Pass, and that would probably do it for me. I'd probably buy one just to have it on my TV.
I'll refer back
with my
to
PC.
episode 1 or whatever as for my rebuttal.
Yeah, it's all good, but it was a fun time. I'll admit I'm a little bit low on energy. I still haven't got over this cold. I don't know. My throat's really bugging me again today, and yeah, it's zapped a bit of the energy from me, but had a good time talking about all these games with you anyway, and I think we can probably wind things down, and I think we'll be doing another show here rather quickly. Just going over our backlogs and replays, and you know, if you're out there, you watched it this long, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't like the show, please leave a comment and tell us why. Don't be afraid to hit that thumbs down. All engagement is good engagement in my mind, and if you let us know what we're doing wrong, I'd greatly appreciate it, because we're new to this game and we just want to get better. Fin Tin Tin, do you want to do your quick shout out to how people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, my Twitter account is just like it looks there. I just put an @ in front of it, and there you got me. That's about it. Good talking to you. Good times, and yeah, exciting times ahead for Xbox by the looks of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I am Mental9R, at Mental9R on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam. You can find me also with the guys on TWS Gaming on Fridays and Sundays sometimes, and occasionally on Wednesdays with the guys at the Game Complainers. And other than that, this is Caffeine Entertainment. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget, it's time to wake up.